Ever since 1996, Crash Bandicoot has been a staple in the hearts and minds of PlayStation gamers the world over, myself included. When the N.Sane Trilogy was released nearly 7 years ago, 7 years, it allowed Nintendo and Xbox players to play the original trilogy if they missed out on them the first time. This is especially funny if you remember the aggressive marketing campaign the original game had.
Even though I was more of a Spyro girl in my youth, Crash Bandicoot still played a massive role in my childhood. I have fond memories of playing the Crash games with my family using the if you die or finish a level you pass it on rule, and losing to my friends at Crash Bash, a game me and Craig still want a remake of instead of the Crash Team Rumble we got.
It's no secret on this channel that Crash Bandicoot means a lot to me. He's a part of my childhood, a nostalgic memory that is far better than the reality. But as much as we both love Crash, despite some regrettable decisions for the franchise and some lackluster installments, let's not forget that the Crash games have always been controller-breakingly hard.
No more so than the first Crash Bandicoot released on PlayStation 1. So today we want to revisit those Crash 1 levels that will have you throwing things across the room, screaming bloody murder, and cursing Naughty Dog for even suggesting that you need a pity mask in this so-called children's platformer. Hello, I'm Heather.
And I'm Craig.
And here are our top picks of the 5 hardest levels in Crash Bandicoot.
We were originally going to make this a joint entry with Lights Out, but I think that level is not really that hard. It's on the right side of challenging but fumbling in the dark. I think there's a reason why this level is only playable once you've unlocked the relevant Cortex key.
Like Lights Out, you have to let Aku Aku light the way, and you only get one mask, which does expire after a time. You cannot stack masks, and God help you if your mask light dies or you lose it before you reach the next mask or checkpoint. You will literally be fumbling in the dark.
But sure, you might be thinking all that applies to Lights Out too. While that is true to an extent, fumbling in the dark has demonic mice coming at you and spiders that you have to bounce on to progress. And if you do a flawless run, you'll quickly realise that the platforms don't always sync up, so you end up falling to your death or wasting time waiting for the platforms. And some of those swinging axes actually move over platforms, so good luck finding a spot to catch your breath. And let's not forget these boxes at the beginning of the level that exist only to swallow up your lives. If you manage to get to the end of the level, at least it's short.
Slippery Climb is such a punishing level. To be very honest with you, I have normally already abandoned my playthrough by this point anyway because of the level that comes before Slippery Climb, but my experience of this level is frustrating to say the least.
I remember playing Slippery Climb as a kid and this level was well beyond my skills as a mere child, and even with the master cheat code I must have lost almost all my lives, and this was back before the first DualShock controller was introduced. Yes, we're both that old. If you have never played Crash using just the D-pad, then you should consider yourself lucky and young.
Like a lot of the levels on this list, you would better not die if you want to get the red gem. One of the many ways the developers wanted to express how evil they could be. Slippery Climb will destroy you if you are not prepared and approach the level with a laissez-faire attitude, because if you care too much, you set yourself up for failure. It's like a strange self-fulfilling prophecy, but if you do die, you have to exit the level and start again. Truly evil. The developers clearly knew how hard this level was from the very beginning, because like another level that's coming up, you start with 2 Aku Aku masks, a telling sign of trouble ahead.
So, how many hazards are there? Well, there's constantly shifting platforms that go up and down and sometimes side to side, and they are not always in sync. Then there's retracting stairs, spikes, moving birds that also go side to side and have an unclear landing zone, lab assistants who throw potions at you, Cortex's prisoners, I'm assuming, who swipe at you from their cells, and there's an embryo bonus level that'll put your balls in a vice. But none of that compares to our number 3 pick.
Like Fumbling in the Dark, this one is also relatively short, but don't let that fool you. This level is hard. In my opinion, the lab is easily the level that requires the most precision and timing of the entire first game.
Not only do you have to hit these boxes that alternate between opening doors and creating platforms to run across, sometimes at the same time, but there are also electric obstacles, goo monsters, platforms that disappear that you have no control over, and crazy lab assistants who block your path with electronic hands. The lab also also has the most infuriating bonus level of them all, because if you don't time or angle your jump right, you'll hit the wrong box and miss the box that's right above it. And as you can see, I failed to do it for this video. The upside, at least you can replay the bonus level if you fudge it up.
To top things off, you have to do it all without dying to get the yellow gem. This is a level that not only requires precision, but patience. You may think that this entry is short compared to the last one, but if you've played this level, then you know that it doesn't take a lot to explain why this is so damn hard. The high road is the level that always gets the better of me, and yes, you all knew this was coming because it is so infamous for its difficulty. I simply cannot do this level. It is beyond me. I'm lucky to even manage to get the boxes at the start of the level where you have to go backwards to get them. If it wasn't for other people doing this level for me in my youth, the same way I did the water temple in Zelda Ocarina of Time for others, then I would have likely never progressed past the high road.
You probably wasn't expecting it to be number 2 though, but let me explain. First of all, even Naughty Dog knew in '96 that this level was hard because it starts the same way regardless of which variation you play. Like Slippery Climb, you get a double mask and 2 lives next to you, but you'll need a lot more than that if you want to beat this level.
I know it's practically a cliche amongst Crash fans to bash this level, but there are very good reasons. The gap between the planks, the ones that break after a second or two, the one you go straight through, and the slanted ice planks, not to mention the warthogs and the turtles. And it's the turtles that make this level even harder.
A big complaint aimed at the high road on the N.Sane Trilogy was that trying to do a safety bounce on the turtles was near enough impossible because the jumping mechanics were changed from the original game, which I always thought was an odd choice because they never changed the jumping mechanics of 2 and Warped. But I think it's been tweaked and patched a little since then. Furthermore, the bit at the beginning of the level that Heather mentioned is downright cruel, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that this is still the hardest level in the base game and will take so many lives. So many lives. So, what's number 1? Well...
It is arguable that Me Ascent shouldn't count towards this list, since Naughty Dog did not include it in the original release, but the reason for this is because it was too hard. And who can blame them for doing this? Just look at how much you have to go through to get to the first checkpoint. I mean, oh my god, seriously, Me Ascent can just go and do one.
The other levels on this list can be challenging in a fun way when you're in a certain mood, and I'll replay them from time to time, but Me Ascent, not so much. We've said the words precise and precision a lot during this video, but this level takes it to, well, another level.
Not only do you need to be precise, but you also need to remember how Crash works and how Crash doesn't work. What do I mean? In Slippery Climb, there are a couple of instances where the platforms or the birds move together, but in this level there is more than just that.
There are platforms that pop in and out of the wall. Some of them come at you at ludicrous speed and others time so slowly that you can forget to slow down or speed up, especially if you fall into a stream of consciousness. To make matters worse, the embryo bonus level is also a big bag of note. Whenever I play this level I feel a sense of dread, and even talking about it is giving me heart palpitations.
So there we are. The 5 hardest levels in Crash Bandicoot. Crash continues to be one of the most iconic characters in gaming history, and although there is no sign of Crash 5 as of yet, we are confident that the franchise has a wumper fruitful future. Providing they don't make the same mistakes all over again with things like edgy tattoo Crash and the disaster that was Twinsanity, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah, they completely lost sight of what made Crash great for a while, and it became a victim of its own success. It explains why they hilariously decided to simply deny the existence of further installments in the series after Crash 3, although in my opinion they should not have forgotten Crash Bash. Anyways, did we miss any hard levels out on our list? What would you put at number 1? And if you did beat any of these levels without ever dying, be sure to let us know in the comments where we will read it and not believe you. I've been Craig.
And I've been Heather.
This is Amalgamingo, and thank you for watching.